All right, good morning, guys. We're going to go over 1.5 complex numbers, part 3. Now, so we've already seen that if a equals 0, a cannot equal 0, then the solutions of the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0 are, and then that's a quadratic formula. We already saw it. We already know what the discriminant is, and we know that if the discriminant is less than 0, then we have no real solution. Now, instead of writing no solution, we're going to have to find the roots with the I. So, in this complex number system, this equation will always have solutions because negative numbers have square roots in this expanded setting. Now, you do have to keep going if we have i's, which is going to be the case for a couple problems in this slide. So, let's get started. They're asking for example 6 to use a quadratic equation with complex solutions to solve these following equations. Now I'm going to write up here the formula, so negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Now let's solve the first one. So for a, we have x plus 9 equals 0. Now for this one, our a is 1, our b is 0, and our c is 9. Now, it doesn't have anything written for b, which would be the bx. So wherever there's a b, we're going to plug in 0. Remember, the only number that cannot be 0 is a. Everything else is fair game. So let's plug it in. So negative b, so negative 0 or just 0, plus or minus b squared is 0 minus 4 times 1 times 9 over 2 times 1, which is going to simplify to 0 plus or minus the square root of negative 36 over 2. Now, the square root of negative 36 in the last chapter, or the last section, 1.4, would be a no solution. In this case, we're going to have to solve the i's. So it's going to become, again, we're going to take the I out. So I of negative 36 over 2 plus or minus, the I takes care of the negative. So it's plus or minus I root 36 over 2. 36 is a perfect square, so it's going to be plus or minus 6i over 2, which can simplify to x equals plus or minus 3i. So that's going to be your answer for A. I'm going to see if I can fit B in here. For B, again, our A is 1, our B is 4, and our C is 5. I'm going to go ahead and plug the numbers in. So negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 4 squared, so 16 minus 4 times A times C over 2 times 1. That's going to simplify to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 20 over 2. So it's negative 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 over 2. Now we know this is going to become negative 4 plus or minus I of root 4 over 2. And again, 4 is a perfect root, so we're left with negative 4 plus or minus 2I over 2. Now, because all of those numbers are divisible by 2, I can do 4 divided by 2, 2 divided by 2, and 2 divided by 2. So I'm going to get 2, 1, and 1. So my final answer is actually going to be negative 2 plus or minus I. Alright, so let's get started. Here we have 10x squared minus 4x plus 10. You can either simplify this by dividing everything by 2, or you can just go ahead and plug it in. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in just for time purposes. So we're going to get, let me write the equation up here. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. The good thing is you're not learning new formulas, you're just dealing with the imaginary part of these equations. So it's going to be your a, your b, and your c. And go ahead and start to plug in. So negative 4 plus or minus negative 4 squared is still just 16 minus 4 times 10 times 10 over 2 times 10. This is going to simplify to positive 4 plus or minus 16 minus 400 over 20. Now it's going to be 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 400 minus 16 is 384 over 20. I can take out the I, so 4 plus or minus I root 384 over 20. Now let's figure out what 384 factors to. I can try out 2. Let's see what that is. It's 192. Making it I divide by 2 again, and I get 96. I'm just going to keep doing 2 until I no longer can. 2 and 48. 2 and 24. 2 and 12. 2 and 6. And 2 and 3. So I have 1, 2, 3 pairs. So it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2. It's going to be 8. So this is going to be 4 plus or minus 8i, and in there's going to be 6 over 20. Now I can simplify the 4, the 8, and the 20 by dividing by 4 actually. So it's going to become 1, it's going to become 2, and this is going to become 5. So your final answer is 1 plus or minus 2i root 6 over 5. For number 2, again, your A is 1, your B is negative 6, and your C is 12. So plugging it in, it's going to be negative 6, plus or minus the square root of 6 squared, so 36, minus 4 times 1 times 12 over 2 times 1. This is going to simplify to 6 plus or minus 36 minus 48 over 2. This is going to simplify to 6 plus or minus negative 12 over 2. And again, I can take out the I to get 6 plus or minus I root 12 over 2. And let's see what 12 breaks into. So 2 and 6, 2 and 3. So it's going to be 6 plus or minus 2i root 3 over 2. Now all of these numbers, 6, the 2, and the 2 can be simplified. So this is going to become 3. It's going to become 1. And the bottom is going to become 1. So your final answer is going to be 3 plus or minus I root 3. Actually, I don't even have to write over 1. So for 3, we have our A's are 5, our B's are negative 2, and our C is our 5. We're going to plug it into the equation. So negative B is minus negative 2, plus or minus the B squared. So negative 2 squared is 4, minus 4 times A times C over 2A, so 2 times 5. That's going to become positive 4 plus or minus 4 minus 100 over 10. Sorry, it should be positive 2. So to keep going, we're going to do 2 plus or minus negative 96 over 10. I can take out the negative, so it's going to be 2 plus or minus I root 96 over 10. Let's figure out what 96 simplifies to. So I'm going to do 96 and 2. So this is going to become 2 plus or minus 4i root 6 over 10. Everything can be divided by 2, so it's going to become 1, 2, and 5. So it's going to become 1 plus or minus 2i root 6 over 5. That will be your final answer. So the 96, I can break it up into 6 and 16. And 16 is a perfect root of 4 and 4. That's why the 4 came out and the 6 remained inside of the square. You could have kept going and done it by 2s or even by 3s. But since we already had it simplified, I just did the shortest version. So for 4, we have A to be 4, B to be -3, and C to be 2. Again, plugging it in. Minus B, I'm just going to go ahead and write 3. Plus or minus B squared is 9, minus 4 times A times C. All of that over 2 times 4. That's going to become 3 plus or minus 9 minus 32 over 8. That would simplify to 3 plus or minus square root of -23 over 8. Now you cannot simplify 23. So all I'm going to do is take out the I. So this is going to become 3 plus or minus I root 23 over 8. And because you can't simplify this anymore, your answer would be with this. Just make sure you take out that I for those negative numbers so you can actually get full credit for the problem. All right, we got 6 more problems. Let's look at 5. 7 is for A, B is our 2, and 8 is our C. So it's going to be -B, so -2, plus or minus B squared 4, minus 4AC over 2A. That's going to be -2, plus or minus the square root of 4, minus 224 over 14. That's going to simplify to -2, plus or minus -220 over 14. I can take out the I. And then let's figure out what this simplifies to. So let's do 220. I'm going to divide it by 2. It's 110. Is 2 and 55. I can do 11 and 5, but that's not going to give us anything else. So it's going to simplify to -2 plus or minus 2I root 55 over 14. So I can simplify the -2, the 2 and the 14 all dividing by 2. So I would get 1, 1, and 7. So my final answer is -1 plus or minus I root 55 over 7. So 6, again, our A, our B, and our C. It's going to be -B, so negative, and then a -8 will turn it into a +8. Plus or minus B squared. It's going to be 64 minus 4AC over 2 times 6. It's going to be 8 plus or minus 64 minus 144 over 12. That's going to simplify to 8 plus or minus root -80 over 12. So it's 8 plus or minus I root 80 over 12. Now let's figure out what 80 breaks down to. It's going to be 2 and 40, 2 and 20, 2 and 10, 2 and 5. So I have 2 pairs. It's going to be 2 times 2. So I'm going to get 8 plus or minus 4I root 5 over 12. These are all simplifiable by 4 actually. So this will become 1, this will become 2, this will become 3. So your final answer is x is equal to 2 plus or minus I root 5 over 3. Let's go to 7. So again, our A is 9, our B is -4, and our C is 2. So we're going to get -4 is going to be a +4 plus or minus B squared, so -4 squared is 16 minus 4 times 9 times C over 2 times 9. So this is going to become 4 plus or minus 16 minus 72 over 18. So it's 4 plus or minus negative 56 over 18. So it's going to be 4 plus or minus I root 56 over 18. Let's figure out what 56 breaks down to. So I'm going to start with 7 and 8. Then I'm going to do 2 and 4 and 2 and 2. So I have a pair of 2's, and then on the inside I will be left with 7 times 2, so it's going to be 14. So this is going to simplify to 4 plus or minus 2I root 14 over 18. Now everything outside is divisible by 2, so the 4 will become a 2, the 2 will become a 1, and the 18 will become a 9. So our final answer is going to be 2 plus or minus I root 14 over 9. Now for the next one, we have A as 12, B as negative 6, and C as 10. So it's going to be negative B, so negative 6, plus or minus B squared, so negative 6 squared, minus 4 times A times C over 2 times 12. So this negative 6 will become a positive 6. Then the 6 squared will become 36. Then the 4 times the 12 times the 10 is 480. And then the 12 times the 2 is 24. So we're left with 6 plus or minus negative 444 over 24. I can take out the I, so 6 plus or minus I root 444 over 24. I'm going to figure out what that is. I'm going to do 2. So it's going to be 222, 2, 1, 1, and 1. This is actually going to be divisible by 3. So it's going to be 3 and 37. And that's as far as I can go. So it's going to be 2 and then inside root 111. It's going to be 6 plus or minus 2I root 111 over 24. I can simplify the 6 to 2 and the 24 by 2. So the 6 will become 3, the 2 will become 1, and the 24 will become 12. So your final answer is x equals 3 plus or minus I root 111, over 12. So let's go over to 9. We have 5 are A, B are negative 4, and C are 6. So it's going to be a minus B, so it's going to be minus negative 4, turns it into a positive 4. Plus or minus B squared, negative 4 squared is 16, minus 4 times A times C over 2A. This is going to become 4 plus or minus 16 minus 120 over 10. This is 4 plus or minus negative 104 over 10. I can take out the I, and then I need to figure out what 104 could possibly simplify to. So 104, I'm going to start with 2. It's 2 and 52, and then 2 again, 2 and 26, 2 again, 2 and 13. Now 13 is prime, so I'm going to stop there. I only have one pair of 2's, so this is going to become 4 plus or minus 2 I root 26 over 10. So remember, the 2's is what goes outside, and then the 13 and the 2 remain inside of the root, so 13 times 2 gives you 26. I can simplify the 4, the 2, and the 10 into a 1, a 2, and a 5. So your final answer is x is equal to 2 plus or minus I root 26 over 5. So for 10, we have 6 as A, B as 3, and C as 2. So it's going to be negative B, so negative 3, plus or minus B squared, so 9, minus 4 times A times C, all of that over 2A. I'm going to keep going. This is going to become negative 3 plus or minus square root of 9 minus 48 over 12. So this is negative 3 plus or minus 39 over 12. Wow, I said 39 over 30. Minus 39 over 12. So I can take out the I. So 3 plus or minus I root 39 over 12. I'm going to see if there's any way I can simplify this. So 39 is divisible by 3. So it's going to be 3 and 13. Well, 13 is prime number, so we cannot keep going. So root 39 stays as it is. So your answer is going to be x is equal to negative 3 plus or minus I root 39 over 12. Now, if you guys don't put x is equal, you're not going to get the answer wrong. If you notice, I didn't do it for all of them. For 5 and 7, I didn't put x equals. You don't have to put x equals as the final answer. Just circle the expression. If you put x is equal to, that's actually completely fine too. It's up to you. Now, as you guys know, I mentioned yesterday, the homework on WebAssign is updated. So is the homework on Canvas. That is due on Monday. And then on Monday, you guys are going to be working on your study guide for your quiz. If you can look at it before you come in on Monday, that'd be great because your quiz is on Tuesday, and then we can go over the questions that you might have issues with. But other than that, that is it for the notes today.